Welcome to this week's Eternal Monday, where we have yet another episode of First Drafts. This time it is Raging Bolt Naganadel against Magnezone with Magnetic Circuit. This is more of a Magnezone box than anything. These are both wildly different decks. They're both very cool decks. Um, it's cool to see, especially how both of these kind of go across several different generations, but we'll get to that here in a second. Up first, we have Raging Bolt EX. This is a deck you're pretty familiar with at this point if you are familiar with Standard at all. Your big guy here is your Raging Bolt. The deck has this card. Rotate it again. Welcome to this week's Eternal Monday, where we have yet another episode of First Drafts. This time, Raging Bolt EX is pairing up with Naganadel to take on Magnezone box. We're going to start here looking at the basics of Raging Bolt and a little bit at Magnezone, of course. Both these decks are spanning across several generations for the tools they're using, which makes these especially cool in my opinion. Raging Bolt has, of course, the attack Bellowing Thunder, which does 70 times damage, and if you're familiar with this in Standard at all, you know you're just throwing energy everywhere and nuking it to do a bunch of damage to your opponent's Pokemon. And that's pretty much what's happening here. However, Naganadel is joining the party here, so it's going to play a little bit differently than its standard format counterpart. It's going to play a little bit more like Blacephalon GX did back in its day. So here we have Naganadel, which says, or rather, it has the ability called Charging Up. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon. So you're using these Naganadel to pull the energy from the discard pile onto that Pokemon, which is very nice. But you also have a few other tools to help get you that energy. One that you're quite familiar with from Standard, which is, of course, Professor Saw's Vitality, which allows you to attach up to two, or an energy from your discard pile to each, or an energy from your discard pile to two of your ancient Pokemon. You just pick them and attach some energy. But then you also have access to Pachirisu, Naganadel, and Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko Prism Star is a known quantity. We've seen this a lot in Eternal. Basically, you're picking a couple of lightning energy out of your discard pile, attaching them to a pair of your benched Pokemon, so 1-1, and then throwing it in the Lost Zone, getting you an instant 140 damage for Raging Bolt. Pachirisu works similarly, except instead of doing it from the discard pile, it's taking a couple energy from your hand and dragging them down with it. It says, for its Pokepower self-generation, once during your turn, when you put Pachirisu from your hand onto your bench, you may attach up to two lightning energy cards from your hand to Pachirisu. So basically, you're just immediately throwing a couple energy down. This is very similar to something like Galarian Moltres from Evolving Skies, if you're familiar with that. Works in much the same way. So you have Pachirisu, Naganadel, Tapu Koko, all these guys helping you to get some energy into play. And then we have, this is kind of the, maybe it'll get used, maybe it won't, depending on the matchup. This is Naganadel GX. It's mostly in here for its ability Ultra Conversion. Once during your turn, you may discard an Ultra Beast from your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards. So each of your Ultra Beasts in the deck become a draw 3. So for example, for whatever reason you're not using Buzzwole, or maybe you have an extra Poipole that you're not using, you can discard them and get some draw out of it and make some use of it. There's also the option to use Injection GX. Injection GX says add a card from your opponent's discard pile to their prize cards. So that could theoretically be very damaging to your opponent's strategy. However, Naganadel GX is a pretty squishy 210 HP Stage 1 Pokemon, so the likelihood of it being in an active spot to attack is not so high. But up next, of course, we have the Magnezone deck. Here, Magnezone is kind of just borrowing lots of fun from across the generations here. We have the Magnetic Circuit Magnezone from, I believe it's Triumphant. It has basically the magnetic draw ability that lets you draw up until you have 6 cards in your hand. Then it has Lost Burn, where you can Lost Zone energy from play and do 50 damage for each energy you've Lost Zone in that way. Again, this is, both of these decks are taking, Blacephalon technically took inspiration from that, but you get the idea. Both these are similar to Blacephalon in that respect. Lost Burn is actually Lost Zoning the cards. Bellowing Thunder is not. You do have Magnezone with Magnetic Circuit, which is basically rain nets for lightning energy. You're throwing it everywhere in play, and in a deck you're going to be using it a lot. You have this Magnezone here, which has the Magnetic Field ability, which allows you to discard a card from your hand and immediately take a couple of basic energy cards from your discard pile and put them into your hand. So if you lose some of your energy, maybe your Magnezone gets knocked out, you can pull them back into play. We have Magnemite here with its Conductive Body, Pokebody. It says you pay 1 colorless less to retreat Magnemite, for each Magnemite on your bench. So if you have a Magnemite on your bench and a Magnemite in the active spot, you can retreat Magnemite for free, which is pretty nifty. The more obvious parts of this deck from standard format, or what could be used in standard format, that is, you have Miraidon EX with its Tandem Unit ability, allowing you to get a couple of basic electric type Pokemon, or type Pokemon from your deck, throwing them on your bench. Raichu V, doing big damage with its attack here. And then cards that you might be familiar with if you've been around the game for a little while. You have Electro Power, very similar to Fusion Tablets, which just rotated this last year. Basically, for a Lightning type Pokemon, if you play it down, it gives you a plus 30 for the turn. And then Thunder Mountain Prism Star reduces the attack costs of your Lightning type Pokemon by 1 Lightning Energy, which can be especially good. This deck also does happen to run Magnezone EX, which can also be very situationally useful. But that is it for the rundown on the basics for these decks. We're going to get shuffled up, and we'll be right back. Heads or tails?
Tails.
Tails. I think I'm actually going to get the attack off turn 1. I'll go second. Your face. We're going to get attention.
And
All right. See what I think. We'll do this first. Start me on. Your typical Prism Star. Mysterious Treasure.
that's something I don't want to see so early on.
Purple Leather. Just give it up already. Percent Vitality. Quick Ball.
purple.
Every favorite purple player.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to set his vitality to the active. What the card I'm trying to do. Attach return. Battle compressor.
Mm-hmm.
Dance of the Ancients, targeting Poiple and Poiple. Bellowing Thunder for 210. Jeez, I didn't screw it. Do you mana garbage, run it back into the deck, and then pull it back out with Mountains? Is that what happened?
Yes.
Okay. And this is Mirage.
Yeah. Tandem unit.
Yeah, yeah. Mirage. Yep.
Minus charge. Wait for it.
Mm-hmm. So Sun and Burgundy.
Mm-hmm. I'm still going back in.
Reroll.
Mm-hmm.
That's off of what? I mean, how'd you get it?
It was in my hand.
So you're playing it from it.
I'm playing it from hand, yes.
I roll. Come on, dude. Stop. Why must you make everything more complicated? Excuse me, sir. You're about to get kicked out.
turn.
Mm-hmm.
Candy.
The Magnezone.
And
Magnetic circuit.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
That's why I'm doing math.
Mhm.
I think I'm just gonna have to overpower the hell out of this by just doing.
By doing what?
Yeah. And then Lightning Rondo for 367
369. Okay.
369 110 1
Okay. There are 13. Or no, 13. There are 5 and 3.
Yeah.
Okay. 8. Okay. Times 2. 160 plus 90.
60 plus 90 60 80 90 100 and so
Plus the 20 base.
270.
Which is how much?
Not enough for a knockout.
It's true. Because right now I have 290. Let's double check it. So 20 base plus 5 and 3 is 8. 160 plus 20, 180. Plus the 90 from the thing is 270.
Yeah.
It's 270. Just barely with it. Dark turn.
If only I had the fourth one, I would have been like, okay, I can one shot.
Yeah, you could, and that would have been scary as crap. Let's bump that. Ultra space. And Poipole versus Singer. Jeez. For Professor Sada's Vitality, gonna play Professor Sada's Vitality, targeting the active Raging Bolt. Joffrey. Charging up.
But you already did this, right?
Ultra space has been done, yes.
Okay. Making sure. And then you played that Poipole this turn.
Yeah, we're just gonna put down. Burn a vessel, discarding my end.
You're a monster.
Feels like it. For 2 lightning energy.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe I'm actually about to do this. Yep. Self-generation. Maybe it stays after.
No. Fuck. No.
Everything. I think everything you would throw at me is gonna get knocked out anyway.
Yeah, but you're.
So if I'll do 1 just in case you fail to for some stupid reason, and then that. So bellowing thunder for 210. Right.
Well, you got rid of 4.
For 4 for what?
4 energies.
Why would you do 4? 7 times 3 is what?
Okay. Mine and
Seems reasonable.
versus Seeker.
Mhm.
Arvin, use Arvin.
Burgundy, nope. Well,
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, my bad. Tandem unit.
Yep. Going after it anyway, huh?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know why I did that. That's the sole purpose of me getting that, because
The fact that you haven't had it out until this turn slowed you way the fuck down.
it really did. I'm gonna draw for 2.
Return. Attach return. Charging up. Ultra space.
So if you just get it purchase, you're gonna get Kuzma. That's it.
Charging up.
Okay, yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
And yeah, just retreat back out of
Yeah,
the Floodstone
yeah.
Papalele. Thanks to your Rotom or your Murdoch.
Yeah.
Either one goes down. Pricing wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst.
My pricing was decent.
Yeah. Your maximum prime being prized isn't the end of the world to have another one, but it's
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's look at these deck lists. Up first, we have Raging Bolt Naganadel. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want that Forsadas back in the deck. I went down to 3 to make room, but that feels real icky. I also don't think Pokestop feels especially good in this deck, but maybe I'm just biased against it.
Yeah, because honestly,
It can get V-strings, which is kind of the point. But I don't know. I need to play more games to determine whether or not I like the Pokestop in there or not. Overall, the deck did function. I think it worked fairly well. The Pachirisu, I wasn't super hype on going into this game, and
yeah.
it 100% got me the knockout that turn.
Yeah, it did. So at the same time, I'm like, okay, you say you're glad that you played the Pachirisu because yes, it does get you 2 electric energy to it, and then you can just use
then
it with
it's
rage.
140, which is exactly what I needed to knock you out. Because otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten a knockout without nuking all my energy.
I know.
It's not great because which an attack most likely. But
So-
it works. So
And the fact that you can use it on, does it have to be played from hand?
from hand to touch the energy. Yes.
Okay, so you would be able to use Stormy Mountains on it because,
Nope.
yeah,
Storm Mountains were for mine, and I used it to get Coco, which is actually what set up my
Yeah.
first knockout.
yeah.
I stole your Storm Mountains from.
You did. I was like, oh, he went bye to the last zone and never returned back, and yeah.
But I think the deck does work. It's got. I think it needs a little bit more work. I just don't know where exactly that work needs to go just yet. It's gonna take some more games to figure that out. But it's not a horrible starting point. It's pretty decent. As for Magnezone box, this is actually this is the first time it's appeared on camera, and this is still the first draft of it.
Right.
This is far from the first game that we've played with this, even in this matchup actually.
Yeah.
It's played several games. This game got off a little bit slower to start than usual.
Yeah.
But you've played a few games with it at this point. How do you feel about this so
It
far?
feels absolutely amazing. I would ideally, if I could, add 2 Pokemon, and Ryan, you can quote me on this or not. It would be.
You said you wanted Iron Hands earlier, which I understand.
Yeah, because honestly, it works well enough with the Magnezone that if even if you have Thunder Mountain, it still takes up 1 retreat cost, and if you have the Zeraora GX, it's basically 1 giant free retreat because you don't need to use the Bloodstone or the U-turn board to use it as a retreat cost from your energy. So yes, I would try to include 2 Iron Hands.
I think 2 is probably excessive. 1's probably fine, especially since you have Nightly Garbage Run to recycle them.
Oh yeah, and so I would include 1, but I don't know.
The big question is, what would you cut for?
Potentially. I can't take any of the items or the supporters because.
Raiko's really good in there. Rotom's really good in there. Zeraora obviously is good in there.
Yeah, I wouldn't cut any Pokemon. I wouldn't cut any supporters because I'm only running 7. Electro Generator, I would not cut any or the Red Candies or the Versus Seeker.
I love the generator. The deck doesn't want to
Oh, not Electro Generator, but the Electro Power. I wouldn't cut it because it boosts your attack by 30. So if I run all 4 of them, that's 3, 6, 9. That's 120 all in its one self. So, I would maybe want to cut out maybe Computer Search.
That's your ace spec.
I know it's my ace spec.
It's a very good ace spec for this
True.
deck too. You used it, you should know.
Okay, then maybe Stormy Mountains.
Also a very good card. I don't know. It feels like there's no real good cut.
Yeah, there's
One of those figured out cuts.
yeah.
Like I probably goes first to Magnezone EX, but even that card is very good in specific situations. So there's no real great cut anywhere. I don't feel like.
Yeah,
It's just one of those where you just gonna have to make the call if you're gonna play it.
oh yeah.
But anyway, that is it for today's Eternal Monday and for this episode of First Drafts. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. We'll see you guys in the next one.